Here again, and in this video we are going to be breaking down Enmu in Hinokami Chronicles 2, moving a bit back towards my regular style of content now that I have a bit more time. I didn't do a combo breakdown for Enmu or of any of the existing characters already, because, you know, I thought they were kind of simple and not interesting to get showcased in the first week. But Enmu is a character that I actually did try and was incredibly disappointed with when I first went into training mode with him, because it really seems like they shot his ass good. Like, when you go back and do the regular combo routes we'd been doing before, like something like this, and into the throw, you can see, suddenly it seems like he was doing absolutely no damage, and there definitely is adjustments to his damage. He's a lot more inconsistent with his damage. He's not getting regular BNBs that do all 35% for very, very simple combos without having to go for setups or stuff. But they've kind of more so rearranged how he gets his damage. Like you saw at the intro there, using things like his demon skills and stuff actually make him get incredible damage. Even just doing simple combos, but they start with this demon skill, which by the way does 0 damage, but they changed the scaling in his combos, it seems, to where just simple routes do a lot more damage than any of the other combo routes you can possibly do, even with very low meter. Like, easy 45% just because I started with an Unblockable. So it really changes his game plan. Now, this is going to be a general quick breakdown of the whole character, and then I'll do a combo guide later. But most of him is the same, so I won't spend too much time delving into things. So he's got, you know, your attack combos, aerial combos, and his down combo is this. They are a bit more interesting than some other characters. Like you saw when I got into the aerial combo, I can't actually dash cancel this one. He does have a few things that are unique about them. So this, I'm not going to be too specific about what changed from last game, because I'm going to be honest, I don't remember too specifically, but this aerial string now just can't be cancelled. I believed it could be cancelled into dash once he landed on the ground. Now I'm mashing the dash button as fast as I can, and it just does not come out until he's fully recovered. Now it has to be cancelled into special moves. So you can go to special moves at any point, which does mean that you can still convert off of it if you just use your dive kick special like this. Yeah, so that's one little bit unique thing, and of course, you know, it's unique because it's a projectile, not super long reaching, but as you saw there, for like a decent bit further than round start distance, it still connects, but it's not like a full screen zoning tool because they will dissipate. Yeah, around this distance, they'll work pretty fine as a way of holding the opponent down for free, instead of having to spend meter on your other projectiles. The projectiles in his target combos, I feel like work better than I remember them working. It seems like they travel pretty far, and I've caught a decent amount of people online just by like doing a target combo in neutral, and they think like, oh, he's whiffing, what a loser, and then they get hit by the projectile or the second projectile, and I can dash cancel and get a full conversion in easily. And I don't know, I just thought that was interesting, that people seem to be getting caught by that a lot more than I remember them used to be able to, so perhaps this could be a viable or, you know, gimmicky way of zoning people out at neutral once they get like sick of you doing this type of stuff, and you can maybe just start throwing out projectiles like this. Because they do travel decently far, and you can like cover the intro of them with stuff like this, and then they have to block those, you know, unique ways of throwing projectiles. Yeah, and then his dive kick is also pretty generic. Goes down, hits the opponent afterwards, and starts a red combo. And his final normal, his grab, is actually really still super, super strong. I don't think they nerfed it really at all. It still has a ridiculous hitbox where even if somehow the opponent on their wake up rolls behind you, and they're like standing still beside you, it'll still hit them somehow, so it still has a stupid big hitbox. It's pretty damn fast, it does good damage, and reaches a ridiculous distance. Like, it can just loop over and over itself. It has so much knockdown actually that you can't just mash it, but that was also great because then if you spent a bunch of meter, let me try and spend a lot of meter, and then I've thrown the opponent. If my meter was coming back slowly through that animation, it'd be coming back, but also you get that quick meter beat rebuild pretty fast, so you can get a little bit of meter there. Also, it leaves you in the perfect distance for things like your slow projectiles or whatever, so you can really just like do super simple Oki where you like, oh, you throw them, throw a projectile, they have to block that, and then, oops, I was nearly in range for another throw. And then you can kind of really easily lock them down with stuff like this. And like, oh no, I thought I was going to have to block the projectile, and if I delay it a little bit more, then they do have to block the projectile, and then somehow dodge this, and yeah. Pretty oppressive with how... with how powerful his throw is. Heavy attack seems kind of the same as it usually was. It perhaps could be useful, the fact that it pushes them so far away may be safer, but yeah. I don't like the fact that it leaves you so far away, because a lot of the times when you connect and the opponent like dashes out of the way but it still hits with them, you're like, okay, so cool, what am I going to get from that? It also does a lot less damage the further away you are. Like, you can dash cancel it, it just kind of, I don't know, it often feels like I wish it didn't act this way. Also, if the opponent's in the air, it like, I don't know, it can just act weird, but it does have a decent amount of distance, so if you are trying to do something sneaky. Actually, yeah, even when you're that far away, yeah, it's kind of bad. I don't like it. I have a lot of things to complain about it often. But those are his normals. Quickly into his specials, since we already know what they are. Neutral special is still toss out your 3 projectiles. They do seem perhaps like they are a little bit nerfed, particularly the aerial versions, because it takes so long for him to recover. I'm holding forwards after this. Wait, whoops. So I'll just throw the 3 projectiles, hold forwards, and look how long it takes him to recover and start walking forwards. Like, that's a long time, even just one of them. Like, it's very not a neutral tool to use it in the air. On the ground, it is a decent bit better because you recover, you don't have to fall down and then recover, so you can chase behind it a lot easier than you can the aerial version, which is good, so you can get, stupid stuff like this. Or as we'll come to, like, whenever you're around this distance and you toss out some of these, stuff like this is super strong because they have to block like 2 or 3 of these slow projectiles and they don't really know how many's coming out. And, if you connect with the Unblockable, as we know, it's about half of the opponent's health every time. So they do become really, really strong in this kind of neutral distance, and they still have the amazing tracking that they've always had. So the opponent's running around, this thing will keep following them for ages, into the sky, back onto the ground, whatever. They're honestly really, really impressive. They, even if you get hit as well, so if like in the Zohakten matchup where I get hit by lightning or something, this thing will still be flying at him and hit him out of his dash cancel or whatever. So yeah, honestly a really good projectile. I have found myself kind of spamming the first projectile of this quite often and just throwing that out because the first projectile is kind of better than the rest. You recover from it so you can chase behind it, throw out another one. Actually, I wouldn't go in the air to do it, but like dash in, and it's just the most oppressive because if you press more than one, then the recovery is a lot slower and you kind of, you just have to like wait a little bit more so you can't really chase behind them as well the more you throw out. But if you are far away and you just want to put shit on the screen, these will let you do it. But yeah, mainly now that he's got his unblockables as his main way of getting damage, they're especially strong in this neutral distance where your buttons wouldn't connect, but these will be like extremely tracking, somewhat safe, ready for your throw distance. So it really seems like this distance is where he's really, really, really excelling with basically all of his specials. Tilt special works basically the exact same way it did before, and I'm not sure where exactly the combo scaling reduction came from. I have a feeling it's probably from this move, because remember this combo that we did before that used to do lovely amounts of damage? I don't know whether it's his like attack strings are just doing less damage, or if it's this adding scaling. It just does less damage. So you're not going to be doing combos with this much anymore, because it just is not really worth it. No matter what you do, even cheap combos, it's like, why would I have done that if I can just do like a dash cancel into an aerial combo and stuff like that does more damage? Actually, it probably doesn't. He does really bad damage with simple stuff. He really needs to get unique hits to get damage. But yeah, not so much of a combo tool anymore, but it does, similarly to using this special in neutral, going into your Unblockable, it does play well into his Unblockables, because doing this into his neutral demon skill, Unblockable, is allegedly seems like a complete unblockable, unavoidable. The opponent can't dash out of the way, they can't hit you out of it. So even though your hit confirms are not going to be very high damaging, you just do a few hits into this, and you just start your combo with this Unblockable then, and you get some kind of situation going. Like, once again, getting 40% for basically no meter, and by the end of the combo you've gotten most of your demon gauge back. So yeah, even though his ways of getting combos are irregular, the beginning part of your combo is going to do absolutely no damage, but as long as you can go into some cheeky Unblockable situation, and yeah, apparently there's no way for the opponent to deal with it. I feel like supers or something can surely go through it. I haven't tested it extensively, but I can tell that they can't mash through it. So yeah, that's the main strength of this special now. It's also really useful for converting off of your aerial target combo, especially since it recovers fast enough for you to get a dash cancel. So if you're trying to get like some kind of conversions or stuff, this is the kind of like cheapest, somewhat damaging way of doing it. As you can see there, even doing it on its own, it does okay damage, but not as good damage as when it comes off of an Unblockable, which is just kind of weird to think about. Because you would think something like this would add more scaling to your combos, but you actually just really want to start your combos with them whenever possible. Yeah, I would go for a throw there for more damage, but as you can see that it does a lot more damage when it starts with an Unblockable. Crazy. But yeah, it's similar, and of course there's always going to be setups where you can go for unique things, like now that we can cancel into our heavy attacks, you can do stuff like that, which I think could potentially be pretty strong, because a lot of people's first reaction when a combo seems like it's going to, like, pretend I'm at the very end of the combo counter and I'm doing this, people know that when they land on the floor they're invincible, so they just mash buttons on you. So cancelling into this when the opponent's recovering, and then having that combo into the explosion of the orb, seems like it could be a really good setup. And just while we're talking about it, but we'll go later, when the alternate version of that setup, I think, is going to be doing something like this, where you do something like that, or... Because then if the opponent is trying to dash away, like, if they're thinking about this option where mashing on you didn't work, and they're like, oh, let me just get away from that heavy attack, and they like jump and dash away, they're going to get hit by this massive Unblockable, and then that's kind of your 50-50 at the end of long combos. Anyways, yeah, that's about that for this special. It acts similarly as it used to be. You can't cancel it into dash or anything on block, so it's somewhat unsafe, except for the fact that you can cancel it into these, so you can spend meter to keep it somewhat safe. Especially since these can also be dash and jump cancelled and stuff, so they are really quite safe. Then finally, guard special. I think it acts the same way as before. Starts a red combo. Doesn't get a lot of damage on its own, but once again, depending on what kind of combo route you like to go for, it could possibly be, you know, really damaging in grounded combos. You do get a free dash cancel after it, so yeah, it is an option to use in combos. And, you know, it is invincible, but it does have a crazy amount of recovery, so you do want to be careful. And the range is not as good as it appears. So you'd think at this distance, oh, those giant tentacles that are literally touching him and going through him, no, they don't actually reach from there. You have to be pretty damn close for this thing to work. So just be careful about that. Right. Then we've got our two demon skills. They act almost the same way, so I'm not going to cover them separately. They just are different speeds to cover different distances. So, obviously, when you're close, you're going to be using the fast one, and almost exclusively off of your tilt special or skill, whatever they're called in this game. So like this, that's our classic Unblockable, and then you just hit the opponent with something to get them to go into the explosion. Whoops. I like doing a dive attack because that's really simple. And then you get some kind of conversion off of it. If you don't drop that, we saw that was 40%. But you can actually have a little bit more damage, I think, if you do a slightly charged heavy attack in this. Yeah, 46%. For, you know, a single bar reset. It does cost you some demon gauge, but the whole thing almost comes back since it's used at the start of the combo seems pretty powerful to me. So even though the fact that his regular combos don't do much damage, the fact that this is unavoidable, unblockable into this means that his combos generally deal 50% damage anytime he touches you, which is pretty strong to think about. Yeah. Then the further away one is more to use in your more unique resets. So like I mentioned, when you're around this distance in neutral, or even on block to be honest. So if I have the opponent blocking, throw out something like this, and I of course wouldn't use the close one there, but you know, the opponent's far away, they're getting hit by stuff like this, boom, now they're dying. And I could do a full combo there and get, I think, 40% from something like that, which is super strong, and to be honest, this is going to be pretty annoying for the opponent to deal with. Just a super simple combo, not optimized at all, just some aerial attacks into a grab, 45%, boom, sorry you blocked. So he's definitely got damage when you know how to route correctly into it, and just force the unblockables on the opponent in whatever way, whether it's in a combo already, using this one, whether it's on block, by throwing out some of these slow projectiles, and then forcing them to get hit by this big one, or by resets, like I mentioned. So say I've gone for this combo, I can do something like this, and yeah, either I can just take the meter back here, or get a little bit more damage at the end of the combo, but that is quite a lot of damage, and that if the opponent tries to mash on me or do anything, that'll work. Or I can use a different way of going into it like this. So if the opponent tries to dash out of the way, something like this may work. Whoops. That was a very poorly impromptu combo, but as you can see, stuff will do a lot of damage if you double reset the opponent. So yeah, he's not as much as a completely shot flop character as I thought he may have been. He definitely still does have his weaknesses, and ironically it can kind of be when the opponent is far away. If you are against a character like Susamaru, or someone that can properly play full screen or move around really fast, even like someone like Akaza, there's just not much that he can do. He walks kind of slow, he dashes a little bit slow, he just, if he can't force himself to be like around this distance constantly, where he's you know, throwing out his aerial special, aerial attack string that's a bit cool, or throwing out these, which leave you in the perfect distance to go for stuff like this, or like throw some buttons into multiple of these, into the unblockable, that's where he finally gets his game going. He does struggle quite a lot. He doesn't have amazing defense, like we mentioned. His armor attack and his invincible attack are not super reliable. He doesn't have any like ridiculous neutral skips demon skills like a lot of demons have. Like, you know, most demons have a demon skill that's like a water wheel, or even like an armored teleport like Nezuko, Gyoko. A lot of people have some stupid way of just being, oh, I'm armored and I'm going in right now. He doesn't have any of those, unfortunately. So you need to do a lot of laying out these projectiles, putting some stuff on the screen, making the opponent like worried about when you're going to approach. Just a lot of unique ways of pressuring the opponent and try to get into your best distance and go for some scary stuff, because you do have a lot of strengths. You've got throws, you've got unblockables, you've got ridiculous damage when you think about it, since the opponent can't avoid stuff like this. So yeah, he's still potentially a very strong character, just he goes about it slightly differently. So that is Enmu. We showed a little bit of combos, but mainly how to use all of his moveset. We will talk a little bit more about combos in the next video. So thank you so much, and I will see you there. Bye-bye.